Speaking of
popular seats,
Scott Frost.
done.
Is like I don't
He's a
understand.
dead man.
if he wins every single game, the remainder of the time they keep him until that buyout drops by 70 points. He's out.
my God.
There's nothing you can do. Welcome back to another rendition of the Bros and the Berg podcast. We thank you for joining on this super exciting day, especially in the world of football. I'm Ryan Doyle. I'm joined by my co-host, Robbie Bergstone, and our executive producer and talent headhunter, Connor Doyle. We got a lot to talk about today. Today is Sunday, or recording this just after the kickoff of the noon slate of NFL games. Obviously, yesterday had a super
1 p.m.
exciting
kickoff for those of you on the East Coast.
No, not in God's time. God's time is central. Super exciting day of college football yesterday, September 10th. Lots of upsets. Obviously, we're recording this before a lot of the NFL games kick, but we'll still get to talk about the Thursday night game between the Bills and the Rams. And yeah, Connor, you want to start us off with our first topic of the day?
Well, I didn't realize that am I allowed to go and find other talent? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, no one else is going to want to work with you, so I think you can, but I think you're kind of stuck.
I'm obscenely difficult to work with. You're right. Yeah.
I just want the whole podcast. I want the whole podcast family to know that Connor asked us for input on a graphic, and I gave him input for the graphic, and then he still ignored it. And
that did happen. Anyways, I'll give you. So. Okay, to be fair,
I just want everyone to know that
I asked for input on the graphic after I'd already made the graphic.
So it was a pity invite to collaborate. It's like a Google invite to collaborate, but like it was a pity invite.
And Robbie, I feel like we said this right before the podcast, but I feel like I have to expose you. For those of you who please go follow us on Instagram if you don't follow us on Instagram. But I posted something about a week ago where I really started this stream of posting on Instagram. Basically, who I thought was going to be the Heisman winner. I said Connor's Heisman favorite, and I had C.J. Stroud, the Ohio State quarterback. And I texted in the group chat. I was like, Ryan, Robbie, I'm going to make one for you guys. Who do you think the Heisman winner is going to be? And Robbie said Will Anderson. So I think that leads us really well into our first topic in week 2 college football.
Can we talk about though? You were gonna act like C.J. Stroud is like tearing the world on fire, like to start the season. Like
he hasn't been
kind of asked to get Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre State looking real good as an out of conference win right now.
Yes. So basically, we can get into week 2 though. Alabama versus the University of Texas.
Never a doubt.
Ended up being 20-19, a game that had a 20.5 point spread, a game the number 1 team in the country versus an unranked UT team. Nobody thought this game was going to be anywhere near competitive, and UT's defense came out of nowhere with one of the best UT or Big 12 defensive performances I've seen in a long time. Obviously being
Brian needs to be tarmacked. Just gonna throw that out there.
Ryan, did you also take Bama in the points? Because I definitely took Bama in the points, and I was wrong.
I didn't sack up and put the 50 that I wanted to.
You were gonna put 50 on it?
I only put 10 on it, but
I put 25 on the money line and made like $5 or whatever, $4.
You almost lost.
Big baller over here. Yeah. How dumb would you have felt if we'd lost? You lost $25 on a money line.
That's not
You're
great.
a Panthers fan. How do I? DMC's already hurt. Like again.
He's fine. He was just out there.
And,
he had a nice screen, but it got called back for holding. So like we're right on schedule for normal Panthers activities.
Well, Tua just got strip sacked. As I look over at my screen.
Unfortunate news to come out of that Alabama UT game. Quinn Ewers getting injured. It was the second quarter. Is that correct? He has officially a left clavicle sprain. I'm not sure what the MRI details are, but Robbie has said he's officially out for 4 to 6 weeks, which is so unfortunate because I think he had a rough, shaky start to week 1, but he was cooking y'all. Completely honest, he was doing really, really well against the Alabama.
Cooking ourselves.
Yeah, but I was so confused. I was like, there were so many plays where their outside receiver was just blowing past your safeties. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, I know. We were looking like burnt toast out there for sure.
Eli Apple looking ass. Shout out to Robbie in the middle
of
the game.
So Connor, serious question is, I don't know if I would say you're unbiased in this game, but did you think that was a dirty hit by Dallas Turner?
Okay, I didn't think it was a dirty hit. I thought that he definitely could have avoided wrapping up. I thought that was unnecessary. I think he could have at least thrown his hands back.
If you watch the replay, right, the man's face is buried in Ewer's chest. He has no idea if he has the ball or not.
He doesn't know if he still has the ball or not. Yeah.
He's wrapping up for a sack.
You have to finish out that play. I think the only thing you could say is that he did fully throw his body weight onto Ewers at the end, but I also think that's kind of a hard thing to avoid. I don't know.
Well, here's what I would argue.
He can't bring himself back. I don't know.
One, it was unfortunate timing because as soon as Quinn let go of the ball, his whole body was in midair. So technically, he became a defenseless player because his whole body was in midair, which is unfortunate timing. He can't do anything about that. But the other thing was that I feel like, especially nowadays, because roughing the passer is so strict, I feel like defensive coaches definitely teach your guys when the quarterback is like throwing their arm like that to be very careful about when you hit them. So I get what he was doing, but the fact that he wrapped up was why Quinn's arm got trapped under and why they both fell on it. So I don't think he needed to wrap up, but I don't think it was a dirty play.
What if he pump faked? He looked like he was throwing the ball, but he could have easily pump faked, and then you don't want to not wrap.
Yeah, but you're still there. You can still block it. I feel like you said, I don't think it was a dirty play, but I think it could have been slightly avoided.
Dirty. Anybody who's saying it's dirty has never played football.
Yeah.
It's just a football player.
Or it's just an unabashed Texas homer.
Yeah,
which is fine. I mean, like, be that. Like, if the Ewers was still in, y'all beat us. Like, that's. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. If any Bama fan says otherwise, they're smoking crack.
So,
14 penalties?
I think it was 15. Yeah,
the most in Nick Saban era by like 2.
We had 10 in the first half.
I was really hoping he would just break his foot off in someone's ass. That's what needs to be done. Tomorrow at practice is going to be really rough for Alabama.
So coming from Alabama people, what do you think the biggest problem with the team was?
I don't get what the offense was doing for the most part, because like it seemed like when they moved the ball, it seemed really easy. It's like, what were we doing that like was different for the rest of the game? Like, did Bill O'Brien just decide to run what?
I need to turn off the fucking stream. I'm watching Red Zone on my other monitor, and I just saw Justin Fields throw a fucking awful interception. I'm talking like it was triple coverage and underthrown by 10 yards. It hit the 49ers dude in the face.
Oh God!
Fucking Bears fans.
Just Bears things. Just Bears things.
Please continue.
No, but I just think
I
think our offensive play calling was just terrible, and it was like Bryce was holding the ball for too long because no one was getting open, and like we weren't running the ball overly well.
Yeah,
it was bad. They just looked really bad. Like we're the worst team on the field yesterday. Like probably should have lost that game.
Like you said, Bryce Young just looked so uncomfortable. Like it was, and I know the UC defense went. Yeah, he was too. Yep.
We were very undisciplined, which is obviously very uncharacteristic of any Alabama Nick Saban coach team. I texted this to Connor. Our receivers are younger, and they're not as talented as the receivers we've had probably in the last 3 to 4 years. Mm-hmm. So Bryce has had a lot of, just luck with that, and those guys just get open, right? Like, but now he has to throw some of these younger dudes open. And I think UT just game planned really well for that. So he was just waiting too long. And our offensive line is still not as good as it has been. And so they're just getting. I was
going to say, I think the offensive line was a big question mark going into the year. And like there's some hopes they'd be improved. But so far, they have not answered any of those questions. They've looked pretty bad. Like, I mean, we cannot get a run game going. It doesn't seem. I wouldn't say Bryce is running for his life, but he's not having the time to throw people open like Ryan was talking about that he needs to have. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah,
I think Gibbs is still going to be a stud. I want to see Bill O'Brien use him in a lot of different situations.
We did at the beginning of the game when we were moving the ball, and then we stopped, and then all of a sudden we kind of started doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. The play calling was baffling.
Yep.
Tarmac Bill O'Brien.
And I feel like another issue to talk about as we mentioned earlier, Will Anderson. I don't know what he was doing. Like completely honest.
Me wrong is like, did Will Anderson have a lobotomy before the game started?
he had a good play at the end.
It was not.
It was weird. He had he personally had 4 offsides calls something like
And plus
maybe.
that late hit where the guy like popped, like the guy was
Dude,
very clearly down and
and-
rolled over, then got up, and then he hit the guy.
And his teammates
Like,
start shoving him. They're like,
what in
"What
the
are
world?
you doing?" Yes.
Yeah, what? Stop. Chill out.
Relax.
He's acting like he's already in the NFL, like where the guy just fell.
He just has to shove him.
him.
Yeah. So, I mean, props to UT. I think that this game is a good case for Georgia to move to number 1. I'm pretty sure Alabama will move down. Either
That's what
two.
my dad was saying. Our dad was saying.
I don't know if they'll move below Ohio State, but I definitely think, especially Georgia just had a shutout win. I think Georgia will be number 1. I think Alabama will end up
They
number
had
2.
a shutout win against Samford, which
Still a
Samford
shutout.
covered by 3 touchdowns.
Well, they also beat Oregon 49.
And they lost 33-0.
But the spread was like 50. It was nuts. The spread was insane.
53.
That's ridiculous.
We covered that spread against Utah State last week, and that was a
Right? I didn't think y'all would.
actually won their conference last year. And
Utah State is not a pushover.
Yeah.
And then they go and lose to whatever conference game they played that they were favored by like a touchdown.
Oh, did they actually?
Yeah, they lost.
So other news in college football: 3 of the top 10 teams lost yesterday. The highest one being Texas A&M. They lost to Appalachian State. They lost.
Hey,
to
they could still
State.
hang that "We Beat Bana" banner though. They got that coming soon. They hang the banner for beating us last year at least.
And I haven't watched A&M super
ahead.
closely, but Gabe, my roommate, was saying that he watched them last week, and they just didn't look good at all. So it was shocking that they were number
Overrated.
6. So
Because Jimbo got carried by Jameis Winston. Without Jameis Winston, Jimbo Fisher would not have a head coaching job in the college football right now. I
damn,
stand by that.
you heard it here first.
We
folks.
also are a Jameis Winston fan.
Oh, we love
podcast.
Jameis Winston. Yeah. I love
He's
Jameis
gonna
Winston.
cook.
Should have
the
started him in
Falcons, man.
fantasy today. What was I
He's so
thinking?
good, bro. So yeah, A&M goes down number 6. I'm not sure they'll. Ooh, do we think
They
they'll
drop-
move completely out of the top 25? Probably not.
No,
Who they
Probably down to like 20 or so.
probably 20? Yeah.
They beat Sam Houston State.
There's a lot of movement, especially
Yeah,
early
true.
in the AP
Yeah.
polls. You saw Florida jump 25 spots.
Yeah, that
or
was
something
crazy.
Ridiculous. Oh, there goes Taysom Hill.
And a team that will drop out of the top 25, Notre Dame, losing to Marshall. And I will put my hands up. I said in one of our Instagram posts, I thought Notre Dame would be a CFP team, and they just lost to Marshall.
Imagine that.
Idiot.
Well, they
Brad
played-
and I have
they
the same
played
top
well
four,
against
so we
Ohio
can
State.
We can just cheer together.
Dude, Notre Dame is the most overrated team year in and year out.
I don't
Are we
disagree.
seeing how underrated Brian Kelly is, though? I do that every time. But Brian Kelly, like, this was a really good team, like, last year, and now they're already starting 0-2.
Yeah.
Is that remind me of the coach's name that came from
Marcus Freeman is the coach.
Freeman? Is this like
Yeah.
the record for the fastest hot seat?
He is the first Notre Dame head coach to ever start 0-3 because he coached the bowl game last year, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You get Fiesta Bowl.
That-
Oklahoma State,
that
baby.
seat, I mean, I don't even know what that buyout is, but like that seat's not comfortable at the moment.
No, not at all. I mean, they'll give him at least this year, next year, but
Sure.
doesn't
Yeah.
look good.
Speaking of
popular
seats,
Scott
yeah,
Frost
done.
can
He's done.
is like I don't
He is a
understand.
dead man.
if
Dead
he
man walking.
wins every single game, the remainder of the time they keep him until that buyout drops by 70 points. He's
Oh
out.
my
There's nothing you can do.
Do you guys know who the head coach of Georgia Southern is? Did you see
No.
that? Clay Helton, former USC head coach, is currently
Is
the
it
head coach of
really?
Georgia
That's
Southern.
actually kind of
Yep.
that's funny.
Someone said Clay Helton, really just Clay Helton for Scott Frost like that.
Never bet against Georgia Southern covered
Dude,
24
Scott
points.
Frost.
Is the Sun Belt the 5th best conference
Fun
in college
Belt.
football? The Fun Belt.
They should be a
You got
Power
App
5
State,
conference.
Marshall, and Georgia
Yep.
Southern all picking
That's
up big
facts.
time
Yeah,
wins
that's actually
yesterday.
true. Yeah,
Probably the
that's
best
nuts.
day in the Sun
Thrown
Belt,
out there.
like conference. Besides App beating Michigan.
Hmm.
Were they? No, they weren't. They were FCS at that point.
They were FCS at that point. Troy beat LSU in Baton Rouge a couple years ago. Remember that?
Oh
That's
yeah,
hysterical.
I do remember that game actually.
That was Orgeron's first game, I think, as
Yeah.
head coach of LSU.
I remember someone on Reddit writing about like LSU bad starting games
Mhm.
and like Brian Kelly's or whatever, and they're like, let's take a trip back through all of LSU's openers with their coaches, and it was just like loss after loss.
Because keep in mind, the last 3 coaches LSU has had before Brian Kelly have all won a national championship with LSU. So
Is it even a conversation this like that Scott Frost is going to lose his job by the end of the year? Is
No,
that
he's
even?
done. He's
Yeah,
a
there's
dead man
no
walking.
chance.
Like he's fired in spirit right now. They just can't do it
Everyone knows
financially.
it. Yeah.
He
what,
knows
okay,
it.
what if he beats the brakes off Oklahoma somehow?
Doesn't matter.
I really,
gone.
you're still 1
Yeah,
and
he's
2, and your
still
one win was a
terrible.
struggle win against North Dakota, not North Dakota State, just
Yeah.
North Dakota.
Yeah,
Nah,
I don't know.
he's
It's
done.
pretty bad. So I gotta just
They're
give a
also
shout out.
not gonna beat Oklahoma. They're not even gonna
No,
be in
they
that
won't.
game.
Yeah.
But in classic Nebraska fashion, they'll be within a score.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
true.
You don't lose games by
That
more
is
than
valid.
a touchdown.
Yeah. I gotta give a shout out real quick because Rock Chalk Jayhawk, the Kansas Jayhawks are number 1 in the Big 12 after beating West Virginia in overtime, and the Kansas Jayhawks have put up
People's attention to this.
They have put up more than 100 points in 2 games. Is Kansas back? Are the Jayhawks back?
They're just as back as Texas ever was.
Bro, they're 2-0. Kansas is the top of the Big 12 right now.
That's correct. I have a screenshot proving it.
It did happen. It
did,
really
in fact,
did happen. It's
happen.
not a fever dream.
And it wasn't even at home. They beat West Virginia at West Virginia.
Yes.
That was an away game.
A week after West Virginia nearly beat Pitt.
Yeah,
They almost
West
beat
Virginia almost
Pitt,
beat
bro.
Pitt. That's
And
incredible.
then watch Tennessee also struggle with Pitt.
Yeah. Tennessee did pull
Well,
it
that's
out,
Tennessee.
though.
So.
But the funny thing, I was looking at the Kansas box score. I was like, because I remember watching their quarterback last year, and I actually the Kansas quarterback is pretty good. I remember watching him last year, and I was like, oh, is he playing really well this year? And like I said, they have over 100 points in 2 games, and he only has 1 touchdown. Yeah. They have like 5, 6 separate running backs that have scored touchdowns. So apparently Kansas is just ground and pound. I was like, old school football. I was like, all right.
Rock chalk.
But yeah, rounding off the top 10 upsets. Obviously, we expected this game to be good. I think most people did. Baylor and BYU. BYU pulls it out in overtime or double overtime.
Big 12 on future Big 12 crime committed yesterday.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys watched the game, but Gabe and I stayed up to watch the game, the Baylor BYU game. The kickers. There was something in the air. Literally, there was a graphic. It was like something in the air tonight because the Baylor guy missed an extra point and then a field goal in overtime, and then the BYU guy missed a go-ahead one and then a field goal in overtime. It was insane. But then eventually BYU pulled it out, which kind of sucks for Oklahoma State, but it's a great win for BYU. And Baylor probably
covered against Arizona State.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oklahoma State.
Good teams win. Great teams cover.
Picks up the win against Arizona State.
Herm Edwards is garbage.
Yeah, also a man whose seat is hot.
Yeah.
But Arizona
Very
State's
hot.
been ass, so I don't know where exactly they're going to go from there.
Yep. Some other results. Tennessee picks up the win over oh my God. Who? Sorry. I just forgot. Thank you.
Pittsburgh.
Kentucky beats Florida at home after Florida had all the hype after beating Utah.
That was a great game, too. Ryan's beloved Wildcats.
The Wildcats.
Beloved Wildcats. Hey, South Carolina hung with Arkansas.
They had 30 points.
They were in that
30
game.
points. How did Rattler do? I didn't even see.
I didn't actually see this stat line, to be honest.
He did well. Caleb Williams also carved Stanford.
Dude,
he fried.
USC
Stanford.
looks kind of spooky right now.
You guys had him in both of your CFP predictions.
Yeah,
that's right.
The Panthers are so bad. We haven't got a first down yet. We have negative yards. Although we might get a first down on a late hit on Baker in the end zone right now.
Overthrow that? Oh my God, Mason Rudolph is bad.
Mason Rudolph starting?
Wait, who's number 10 on the Stillers? Yeah,
no, it's
Trubisky.
Trubisky.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, No, it's Trubisky. Yeah,
it's Trubisky.
Okay.
I was like, Rudolph's not starting.
Yeah,
it's Trubisky.
Yo, he hit Fryermuth for a 31-yard catch though. Got that sleeper notification.
Ryan, that's the definition of all the Steelers quarterbacks. Some white guy that's got that.
Some tall white guy that's just gonna fucking overthrow
Some
everybody.
white guy.
There was also a 7 OT game. I don't know.
That was it was bug juice. It was bug juice and
that's right. It was bug juice in Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah, Eastern Kentucky. That was hilarious. I was like 7 overtime. I was like, it's so random.
Absolute barn burner in the KY.
Yeah, Bowling Green. Bowling Green in Eastern Kentucky. Yeah, it's a thing. We just have a family friend that went there, so And so yeah, I mean
Actually, that
that's you
makes
guys have
sense.
anything else you want to round out about the college football weekend?
Shout out to OK State breaking into the top 10. I know y'all hate
Yeah.
to be there.
It will probably be 8, which is spook. I don't feel like the 8th best team
Right
in the
behind
country, but
OU, which
that
is
is-
But
also
honestly, like
overrated.
no one else is playing overly well.
No,
Like they're like
everyone's
Georgia's the
playing
only
like
team that
shit.
looks good right now.
We-
Everyone else looks like garbage.
all we keep saying is that we should keep winning. You don't have to look
Yeah.
great. just win the game.
A win is a win.
Bluff next
Man,
week,
hey,
you know.
Yeah, that could be. We could. I
If
feel
you
like
go-
if we. Go ahead, Robbie.
If you go, 13-0, you'll be in the college football playoff, and that's all.
Thank
that
you,
matters.
Robbie.
don't
Yeah,
need
you're right.
style
That's
points
so
from going
correct.
undefeated.
See, I am still worried even with this loss about playing Baylor at home because Baylor didn't look bad by any means. It's just BYU is just a good team. So I am still very worried about playing Baylor at home. And then the last thing on college football, they announced what college game day is. Did you guys see this? College game day is
Boone, North
Troy
Carolina.
versus Appalachian State.
Oh, there's such a bone. I love it. Fuck yeah.
Boone is gonna
I
burn.
was like,
Did
really?
you see any
Come
videos
on.
of Boone after they won
Yes,
and it was
there's
an away game?
Yeah, I did see that.
Boone is Morgantown light. Like they'll start burning couches immediately, like so fast.
I was
That's
just
gonna
like,
be awesome.
and I
They're
know-
gonna run out of beer.
I know A&M just lost, but I was shocked that they didn't put like Miami and A&M as game day, or you know what's a good game? Kansas plays Houston next week, and I want Kansas
Hell
still. I want Kansas to fight.
Dude,
I want
am I
Kansas to
crazy
win.
for wanting to put money on a Kansas money
Kansas?
line on
Yeah,
that one?
Kansas will
Because I
win.
really want to.
It's at Houston too, which is hard, but I don't know.
God,
Maybe-
That just means Kansas is gonna have a plus sign next to their name, which makes me want to bet on them even more.
Did you see Malcolm Rodriguez is starting in Detroit?
Yes, he
He's a
did
starting
so
strong
well.
side linebacker.
He was a 6th-round pick, and like I remember, because I was watching Hard Knocks, the HBO series that the Lions did, and the
They
linebacker
love
coach love him. Like he's so good. So yeah, that's great for him. And so yeah, moving on
And
from
the Panthers are really bad at football.
moving on from college football, we're gonna get into the NFL actually. So obviously, Ryan and Robbie are looking at the 12 p.m. games right now. But obviously, with the start of the NFL comes the start of fantasy football because that's all we really care about. We don't care about the NFL. We care about fantasy football. So
I'm in
yeah,
rebuilding mode.
you're in rebuilding mode. So what do we think of the NFL this year, boys? Who are Super Bowl picks? We gotta make those. We never said who we think's gonna make the Super Bowl this year.
The Bills.
Okay,
Yeah,
That
there
feels-
seems to
that
be a
feels
lot
solid.
of money thrown on the
Right.
Bills.
You got- what's your
that
matchup gonna
means-
be?
Solid.
That means knowing the Bills, they're gonna fuck up. So it's not.
I don't
that's
have the
the point.
Bills.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I got Bills and the NFC sucks. The Bucks.
What's
Got
that
Bills
music?
and Bucks.
What's that music? Is that the Cowboys?
Oh my god, please no. Don't be that good.
Homer pick.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, by the way, my fantasy teams are doing
Dude, I don't even know
terrible.
who the hell I'd pick for the Super Bowl right now. We think Rams repeat? I mean,
No, I got Chargers, Bucks. Chargers are spooky with
Right, I agree
Khalil
on the
Mack,
Bucks.
and that the Chargers are scary. I think. So, and then Bucks, yeah,
I
just
mean, the Bills looked pretty scary with Von Miller on Thursday.
true. Von Miller did play really well. The
think
Bills D line was really good.
Bengals Bills for the AFC Championship game. I think Bills get revenge on the Chiefs.
Hmm.
I think Bengals make it to the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
and I don't think the Bucks are good enough to make it this year.
don't.
Fuck it, Bengals Cardinals, lock it in.
What the dude? Kyler Murray can't win a playoff game. What are you talking about?
Bengals Cardinals.
That's the worst take I've ever heard.
Let's go.
That'd be another home team in the Super Bowl for the Cardinals. It's in Arizona this
Oh
year.
damn,
There you go.
that's a good point actually.
Uh-huh.
Bengals Cards.
So yeah, who do you think is going to be the biggest disappointment of the year, NFL wise? Well, obviously, Robbie,
So
for
then
you,
I
it's
don't
going to
get
be
why
choose
anyone
from.
thinks the Packers. Well, yeah, the Panthers are. I automatically assume them to be disappointments. That makes them
Yeah.
not the biggest disappointment.
I got you.
Cam
But
Akers.
I just don't get why anyone's high on the Packers. Like they lost their bet. Huh?
He said Cam Akers.
Oh, Cam Akers too. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Ryan is in
I-
agony because of Cam Akers.
I
Currently.
definitely see the Packers thing though. I mean, they literally apparently Alan Lazard's out today, so they don't have a
Yes, he is.
receiving
Thank you.
core. They literally don't have a receiving core.
Romeo Doubs about to go off.
So yeah, the Packers are kind of sus this year. But anyways, so yeah, let's talk about a little bit about the first game of the NFL season. Defending Super Bowl champs versus a team that people argue should have been in the Super Bowl if it hadn't been for a coin toss. The Buffalo Bills. The Bills looked incredible. Like, quite honestly, especially their defensive front looked incredible. The Rams offense looked kind of stagnant, if I was completely, other than Cooper Kupp, who continues to be incredible. I thought they would be triple teaming, and he still seems to manage to get open. What were your thoughts on the games? Obviously, Cam Akers only getting like 3 carries. Very surprising. Nobody knew that Henderson was going to be the leading back. Yeah, Akers barely got in the game. Apparently, McVay said after that he wants to see more explosiveness from Akers or something. So obviously, there's something wrong there, that he doesn't like Akers.
Yeah.
I think they're still not convinced he's 100% back from his injury.
Yeah, very true. He's only 23, and yeah.
And I guess I was reading about like Achilles injuries too, and like Adrian Peterson's like pretty much the lone running back that has actually come back from Achilles injury and like still been the same.
Yeah,
like it is really hard. It's not like your ACL where like they've gotten better about recovering from that. Like it is a hard.
Still, you lose a step.
Yeah, 100%.
It was a turnover fest for like a second there.
Weird. Yeah, that was a weird little back and forth. It was in the second quarter, I think, right before halftime. It was Josh Allen threw a pick, and then like
Josh Allen threw a pick.
Yeah, no, it was the receiver's fault.
Ball, and that guy's a bum.
I feel so bad for Zach Moss. Fumbled twice. I don't know if he's gonna see the field again, like for a long time. Completely honestly, I just feel bad for him. It was his first game, 2 fumbles. It's like, oof. Not a great showing to start out.
They'll get him back in. The Bills are good about that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. I don't know. From what I heard from the coaching staff, I remember after hearing some of the post game stuff, they're like, "Yeah, it happens. He's going to see the field. We're going to practice on it." And like,
that's good.
You know, a guy like that, you're in the NFL. You just don't want to prove yourself, and he's going to make sure that doesn't happen again.
The people we expected to make an impact did make an impact. Stephon Diggs had a great game. Cooper Kupp had a great game. Von Miller, like you mentioned earlier, had a phenomenal game.
Is he gonna retire? Like, Christ,
he doesn't.
Get
bro,
out.
He's good.
He looks good.
He looks really
good. It's just like, good lord,
well.
a guy who plays like has 100 sacks or whatever, and has been playing at that high of a level in such a physical position for that long on multiple Super Bowl winning teams, and he's just went to the next one.
I was pretty shocked at the Bills' ability to contain Aaron Donald. I really didn't think that they would be that strong on the offensive line, but they did a good job kind of checking him. Obviously, that was their biggest key point because he's, arguably the best lineman ever. But I think that's pretty much it for that game. Y'all have anything? The Bills ended up picking the win, kind of a second half dominant win, honestly, over the Rams, which is kind of
impressive.
So yeah, the Bills look really, really good, and obviously all the other games are kicking off today. We have made our Super Bowl picks here, and I forgot to mention a few college headlines I still need to mention, because we didn't record last week. CFP will be expanding to 12 teams in 2026 officially, but it could happen as early as 2024 if they get all the logistics figured out and everything signed off. I think this is good news to everybody. Everybody
now,
really wanted to see this.
They announced how they're picking the 12.
They have announced how they're picking the 12. The CFP says that the 12-team field would consist of the 6 highest-ranked conference champions and 6 at-large teams.
So 6 highest-ranked conference champions? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 6 highest-ranked conference champions, 6 at-large teams.
So do they just pick a group of 5? The highest-ranked group of 5? Is that what that's essentially?
There has to be one. It could be more than one, though. If you have a year like the Pac-12 stinks again, it could be theoretically 2 group of 5s.
And then, so the top 4 teams will receive, top 4 seeds will receive a first round bye. So they'll take the conference champions, but they'll still rank them within the. So, you get an automatic bid, but you don't get an automatic seeding.
Important Jabu stat line update for the first quarter. You guys ready?
Yes. Oh, God.
2 completions, 6 attempts, 6 yards.
Okay.
Dave's probably irate. I haven't been looking at my phone. I hit the most recent text in 6 minutes ago. God damn it, Jabu.
So going back to the NFL and continuing on the NFL headlines, Jimmy G has been given the biggest quarterback contract in NFL history, which to me signals they don't have a lot of faith in Trey Lance, if I'm being 100% honest. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
Is it not faith in Trey Lance, or is it because he's a running quarterback? He could literally get hurt at any time.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's a good point.
He's going to take a lot of hits.
Jimmy G's a pretty good backup, completely. He is.
Probably
I think he's well deserving of that contract.
Yeah.
I mean, he could start on 5 to 10 or compete to start for 5 to 10 of the teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
I
mean, it's an interesting strategy. You would, I guess it's a little bit of a gamble, or they just don't think they haven't seen enough out of Trey Lance yet to feel 100% confident in him. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Continuing on contract news, Russell Wilson has signed a 5-year, $242 million contract with the Denver Broncos, including a $50 million signing bonus. So he's obviously there in Denver to stay. I don't think anyone's really surprised by that. We kind of all assumed that he would be.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have failed to reach a new contract. Lamar represents himself, and they just could not get it figured out. This doesn't necessarily mean that he's leaving Baltimore. I think a lot of people know that he wants to stay in Baltimore, but they just couldn't reach one at this point. They're going to hope to reach an agreement by at the off season. So I guess we'll see what's happening there. I don't think that's anything to really read into. Like I said, I think Lamar wants to stay in Baltimore.
The Ravens love him.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he's really become an identity for that team. He's their obvious leader. So I think something will get hammered out. Again, it's interesting seeing all these dual threat quarterbacks in the league. You got obviously him, you got Jalen, you got even guys like Josh Allen who are not as much dual threat but still can do a lot of damage with their legs. And it's interesting to seeing kind of how these contracts will work out, with obviously some of the most ridiculous contracts with Deshaun Watson. And how that's going to affect these guys that are running the ball a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, how old is Lamar now? He's prime age, isn't he? Just under
6.
Yeah, so he's looking for a monster deal.
I
want to say
he's 25.
25.6.
I mean, I think he would be, if Deshaun Watson can get that. I think he's deserving of at least that, right? And
Deshaun Watson just fucked over all of the other teams and their quarterbacks and they gave a sexual predator this much money. You should be able to at least pay me that much,
right? And they're right. Thanks, Browns.
And thanks, Browns.
Thanks, Cleveland.
Oh,
and then
Mac Jones just got strip stacked for a fumble or a touchdown. This Dolphins Patriots game is awful.
The last NFL headline I have, something that I didn't realize until yesterday. Apparently, Dak Prescott is dealing with an ankle injury, but he still plans to play the season opener. So I really hope he doesn't mess up his ankle tonight. So
apparently, it was a big scare. I heard I was watching Fox Sunday Kickoff or whatever, and Jake Lazer was talking about it. I guess practice on Thursday, he's warming up and felt a pop in his ankle.
God,
and they were like, "Oh shit! This is really bad." So they took him back, did MRIs and stuff, and didn't find anything. And he went back out in practice and was fine. They think it was just some scar tissue popping or something. But apparently big scare. They were really worried that he had.
Was that the ankle that he twisted before, or the twisted?
I don't know. I wasn't sure. I didn't hear what ankle, but like I said, hearing a popping in MRI is oh shit.
So yeah, I mean that's what I have on the NFL. Obviously, all the games are today. Ryan, Robbie, and I all on some fantasy leagues together, so we'll keep you updated on who's winning the leagues and stuff like that. Moving on to
also in our family pick'em this week, I went 8-2 on college games.
Yeah, I wasn't great this week.
I lost the Baylor BYU and the Wisconsin Eastern Washington. Also
Washington State.
Washington State, excuse me.
Yeah.
Wazoo, my bad. So
Wazoo.
A lot of upsets. I'm proud to go 8-2. Picked the Kentucky game, picked Wake, picked OK State, all those. So
nice.
15-5 on the season.
I went 8-2 last week. I did not do as well this week. I did have Kentucky, and then I switched at the last minute to Florida. I should have stayed with Kentucky.
Thank you.
Moving on to some NBA headlines. The biggest NBA headline to come as of late: Donovan Mitchell has been traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Isaac Okoro, and a few first rounders. Kind of an interesting trade. I didn't really expect Cleveland to go after Donovan Mitchell, if I'm being honest, but that's not a bad team. If you look at the starting lineup as a whole, Cleveland's got some. Yeah.
It was a
Mitchell and Garland together is going to be kind of sick.
That is going to be. That's a really good backcourt. Yeah, Woj. That's a really, really good backcourt. You still have Evan Mobley.
Yo,
I really like that trade for both teams. I think Utah got about as much value as they can because with Gobert gone, they're not winning.
It's
with
complete
just
rebuild.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get what, 3 young guys, 2 first rounders. I think it's a fantastic trade for Utah.
Agree.
Yeah, I if I'm looking at it as an unbiased, I like it more for Utah than I do for Cleveland, just because I know how difficult the East is right now, and that team is still not good enough talent-wise, I think, to get out of like the Eastern semifinals.
Yeah.
And
Danny Ainge is going full like Sam Presti mode of like, let me get all of the first round
that's
picks.
literally
They're
what's
all
happening.
mine.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
Yeah.
a draft in 2 years, and it's only gonna be the Jazz and the Thunder drafting for the first 10
it's
picks.
gonna be
Like,
KC and the
It's gonna be
Yeah, there was
OKC
something-
and Utah, and they're gonna be the only ones drafting.
I think the stat was they both, or it's like they have a combined 15 picks in the next 7 drafts, or like 15 first round picks
It's
in the next 7
something
drafts.
absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So excuse me, I misspoke earlier. Isaac Okoro was not part of the trade. I remember he's part of the starting lineup. So the starting lineup for the Cleveland Cavaliers now is at point guard Darius Garland, shooting guards Donovan Mitchell, small forward Isaac Okoro, power forwards Evan Mobley, and the centers Jared Allen, who
That's a
Jared
good
Allen's
team.
pretty dang good. So that is a
They
good
remind me
team.
a lot of the Hawks now, right? Like you have a
Yeah.
great backcourt, like
Mhm.
great 2 really good guards that are gonna play really
DeJounte,
well
yeah.
together. Your front court isn't bad, but it's not good enough to compete with Giannis and Embiid and all that group.
Nope.
So
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
very
how-
similar trajectory on those two.
God, the
teams, I would
East
say.
is spooky. The roles
Yeah,
have
it
completely flipped from when the West dominated. It was West versus LeBron.
Yep. Moving on. This is kind of NBA related, kind of not. NBA 2K23. Some of the ratings have come out, and there have been some. Obviously, as there always is, outrage on Twitter, especially Kevin Durant. Because I can't go a podcast without mentioning Kevin Durant.
His head ass.
He was tweeting about it. Don't worry.
He was tweeting about it. So who do you think the highest rated in 2K23, boys? Who do you think it is?
Is it LeBron again?
It's not LeBron.
I saw, and I don't remember. Was it Giannis?
Giannis?
It is Giannis. Giannis is a 97 overall, and then there's a tie of 5 players for a 96 overall, where it is LeBron, KD, Embiid, Curry, Jokic. Luka sits at a 95, Kawhi sits at a 94, Tatum at a 93, and John Morant at a 93. So those are your 10 highest rated players of NBA 2K23. Kevin
I don't
Durant
think
was
that's horrible.
Kevin Durant was in fact bitching
No,
about
where the
about
fuck
this.
Jimmy Butler at? Put some respect up my man.
He's good, but come on now. I don't know if he's top 10. And in keeping with the NBA, more specifically the WNBA, Sue Bird has officially retired. One of the greatest WNBA players of all time. I don't think she's a shooter.
She had like
gotta be.
5 Olympic gold medals.
She's really good. And she was really, really
She's
good
been
player.
she's been playing forever. So yeah, kudos to her.
Respect to Sue Bird of the WNBA. And speaking with other retirements and other GOATs, Serena Williams has officially retired from tennis. I didn't know if I'd see the day. She obviously, I think you can make an argument for her being on the Mount Rushmore of sports individuals. So that is incredible career to her. Obviously, wish her all the best in her retirement. And then, in speaking with other tennis, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Francis Tiafoe versus Carlos Alcaraz. This was a U.S. Open men's semifinals match that happened yesterday or 2 days ago.
I heard the Open was
this match
really a good
went
game.
4.5 hours because it went all 5 sets. By the way, Carlos Alcaraz is 19 years old, and
That's crazy.
And he managed to win the game, and he's now heading to the finals of the U.S. Open. It was an incredible. Like I only caught the last set, but it was incredible. He had some incredible hits, literally like things that he would hit and it would land like right next to the line, and the guy didn't even go after it because he thought it was out. It was some incredible stuff.
What's the average length for like a match that?
Not that long.
Like at that point, like a couple hours. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It's a couple hours, but not that long. So yeah, it was incredible. They were both
4 hours long match.
They're both incredibly respectful of each other. Michelle Obama was actually at the match. So yeah, that was cool to watch. Moving on to the MLB, Albert Pujols has tied Alex Rodriguez for the 4th all-time on the home run list. He sits at 696. He is searching for that 700 mark before his career's over because he's retiring after this year.
I really didn't think there was any chance he's going to get there, but
he's
might.
close, bro.
Because the Cards are going to have a playoff series. They'll probably have 2 playoff series.
Yeah,
I think
they're going to have a playoff
round,
series. So
they might.
He's got a shot. He could hit 700. That's pretty incredible.
Another quick baseball news update, real quick. Braves took first place in the NL East for the first time since opening day. They were 10.5 games back of the Mets on June 1st, and they are now, at least as of yesterday, they were half game up. I think they might have swapped yesterday because I know the Braves lost. But
the Braves are a half game back from the Mets.
Yeah. But they were up a half game yesterday, so they took first place for the first time this season.
So yeah, in keeping with the MLB standings, currently the Dodgers sit atop the MLB with the Astros kind of sniffing their tail. The Mets are at 88 wins, the Braves are at 87, the Yankees are at 84, and the Cardinals are at 82. So those are all the teams that are above 80 wins currently.
Yeah, where are the Rangers at?
I can tell you. Let me tell you, Ryan.
Scroll down.
The Rangers are currently sitting at 59 and 79. So,
damn, they actually really fucked off, didn't they? They were doing decent.
They were, and then they played the Astros and lost like 4 out of the 5 games or 5 out of 6, and just lost to the Blue Jay. Yeah, they've been on a little bit of a cold streak recently.
They were like 5 games under 500.
Yeah, not anymore.
I distinctly remember when they spent $500 million in like 36 hours over the summer.
That did happen. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're really getting dividends on that investment.
Yeah. Those are your MLB standings. Moving over to the Premier League standings for our international fans. We always have to announce these. Arsenal still sits atop the league with 5 wins and 1 loss. Man City with 4 wins, 2 draws. So they don't have a loss yet. Same thing with Tottenham. They have 4 wins, 2 draws. And Brighton with 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. And then Man United sits at 5 with 4 wins and 2 losses. Chelsea.
Now, you beat up on Arsenal last weekend. Man, you beat Arsenal like 3-1 last weekend.
Oh yeah.
Actually, now, obviously, our listeners know that God rest the Queen. She passed away recently, but I was wondering, are there being games played, or while she's
they paused games?
It's like a 12
I figured it was going to be like at least like a week, like when nothing happens in the UK.
Yeah.
I think it's a 12-day.
Yeah, they canceled. I know the Premier League games for this weekend. I don't know for how long though.
Mm-hmm.
The Irish are chanting some abhorrent things at some of their soccer games.
Where my beloved Brentford Bees?
Your beloved Brentford Bees, Robbie, are actually at 8. They have 2 wins. They've 3 draws and 1 loss. So they're playing. They're there.
Very out of the relegation zone right now. Yeah. Maybe looking for a Europa League berth. Let's get it.
The Dawn Steelers for the Super Bowl.
So, yeah, those are the Premier League standings. An event that happened last night. Nate Diaz wins in the main event of UFC 279 by submission.
That was kind of wild.
And he
didn't see it.
He's sort of retiring. He said he's going to go do something else and then come back. I don't really know what his speech was at the end. It's a little confusing. But yeah, Nate Diaz with a big win by submission.
Well, probably all the CTE.
Yeah, you're right. Not wrong.
That would do it for sure.
Speaking of CTE, Le'Veon Bell and Adrian Peterson had a boxing match yesterday, and Le'Veon Bell knocked out Adrian Peterson in the match. So former NFL players getting up to shenanigans, basically.
Greg Hardy was in the UFC for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Former Panthers great Greg Hardy. He
was also on the Cowboys.
Yeah, he went from the Panthers to Cowboys.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We let him go and then he went to the Cowboys.
He went to go assault people legally instead.
Yeah.
Use his anger in a productive way.
There you go. For money. Yeah. Ryan, obviously you had COVID. How you feeling?
We're good, man. We'll be back at work tonight. Boy.
You're back.
Let's go. You'll return.
Went to the gym this morning, so we're back to regularly scheduled programming.
Did you end up watching House of the Dragon? What's the vibe on that?
I did. There was a lot of stuff being discussed, and we're figuring it out.
Yeah. So I told you there's gonna be some terminology that you're like, what are they talking about?
Not like super exciting yet. There's not like any crazy fights. The spoiler alert: the fucking like C sections scene.
Oh,
was
yeah,
that
kinda
scene was
wild.
terrible.
That's
No, I
bad to watch.
actually I kind of mostly looked away during
Yeah,
that.
it's
I
not
really
great.
Same.
didn't want to see any of that.
Yeah, it's
It's episode 4 tonight.
as you said, it's
You guys watching the
very
premiere?
it's very reminiscent of the original series because the first season of the original series is also slower and it's just establishing everything. But I think it'll definitely
I'm
pick up.
watching the original series now that I have
Well, there we
access
go.
to HBO Max. So
Robbie, where are you at? Because you made a reference to the series in the group chat yesterday. I was like,
Yeah. Oh, dude, I like binged it all before House of the Dragon came out.
Oh, so you've seen
I
it?
binged
Okay,
all, like,
yeah.
so I got through season 4 like December of last year, and I stopped watching it, just like moving and stuff. I didn't really get back into it. And so before the House of the Dragon started, I was like, all right, I got to finish it so I can watch House of the Dragon. Not obviously it's a prequel, so it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
I needed to finish the first series before I started the next one. So I'm through it all. I've watched the whole thing. Are
Right.
you watching the premiere tonight? I know Ryan's got to work, but
I should be.
we'll be sleeping actually.
I'll be waking up for the Cowboys game.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably leave House of the Dragon tomorrow so I can watch the Cowboys game. Does anybody have a song of the week for us?
Changes by X because I'm really sad watching the Panthers game
Rattling
right
Bog again.
Oh, the Rattling Bog.
Oh, down in the valley.
So yeah, we'll go changes for the song of the week.
Yeah, we'll go change.
So we're gonna move on to our tier list today, in keeping with the start of the NFL season. We're gonna do the NFL logos. The first logo is the Arizona Cardinals. I think it's a good logo. I like the Arizona Cardinals logo.
You know what it is. You know,
Mid.
that's good. It's a bird. It's a
I
red
think
bird.
it's very mid.
It's
It's very mid.
Put it in B tier. Yeah, right in the middle.
There's a lot of fucking B tier logos in the NFL.
The Atlanta Falcons.
I think it's kind of sick, personally.
Yeah, Dirty Birds kind of goes hard.
We
That's
put
in
it
the shape of the F, which
I
I
put
didn't
it in
know
A.
forever.
I would.
Yeah, I'd put it in A too.
Yeah, I would put it in A. I don't think it's S, but it's a pretty solid logo.
I'm back in A. The Baltimore Ravens.
I think it's a slightly
Kinda
better
ass.
bird.
You think it's better than the Cardinals?
Slightly.
I like the
He
Cardinals one
he's
better.
he looks like low key constipated. I don't really know why.
You ain't you. Yeah, that's not wrong. You aren't wrong. we can throw it in the same tier. I feel like
I put it in.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, I'm curious to see what you guys say about this logo because I actually got in an argument with Alyssa about this logo while we were watching the Thursday night game.
I think it's
She
kind of
said
mid.
it's stupid. I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's in between what you guys said. I think it's just like average. I'm
Yeah,
not
the thing
enthralled
is,
by it.
all the NFL logos are really kind of mid.
Yeah.
That's my take on the whole.
You
I
are
would
wrong.
agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
You
But
are.
I put the Bills right there with like the Cardinals and Ravens.
No, I agree with that. I think the Bills is probably better than the Cardinals and Ravens.
I like the Panthers logo.
I do too, actually. I think the Panthers one's really good.
Yeah.
What do we think about the Panthers one?
And compared to the rest of them, S tier.
I actually agree. I think the Panthers logo is S tier.
Yeah.
The Bears is awful.
At
Yeah,
D.
Bears sucks,
Like
but at
that
D.
throw that in the
Yeah.
D tier. Like, the Bengals isn't great either. It's just a B with colors.
C tier.
Yeah, put it in. Yeah, anything that's just a letter, can we just
I guess
flop
that
in D tier? Like,
I guess those are
the
the
Bengals has the
claws.
colors going on.
And that's like the
I'll give
claw.
the Packers a pass just because that one's old as shit, and that's like always
Yeah.
been their logo.
Also, I could be okay. I'd be okay with the Bengals in C just because it does at least have like the Bengals stripes on it
I put C, yeah.
versus the
Okay,
Bears.
the Browns are also
Yeah.
D.
D. Yeah,
Like,
just
it's
a
nice.
fucking
It's just a
helmet.
helmet. It's literally a helmet. Like, nice. The Dallas Cowboys.
it's iconic, but
C.
like
It's just a star.
it's just a fucking star.
Yeah, it's C.
Like get some cool, like at least Oklahoma State has Pistol Pete or something for some of their shit. Like make a cool ass logo.
I'd argue that the Broncos could be A tier. I like the
Yeah,
Broncos.
I like the
one.
Broncos.
There's some
Wait,
detail.
where we
There's
put
some
the boys?
detail to that. We put boys in C.
Where we put the boys at?
C.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with Broncos in A tier.
Lions.
I put the Lions in S tier. I actually think that's a sick logo.
All right.
Yeah, I also
I
like
really
their
like
color
that.
scheme.
I do too.
Yep, same.
We'll throw them in S. The Green Bay Packers. Another. I feel like it's another Cowboy situation. C tier. Just.
I think it's right there with the
Yeah.
With the boys.
Houston Texans. B. Probably just throw.
I
in
like
B.
the star because it's getting the Texas vibes. I like because then you got the Texas colors. It's I would say high B tier because at least there's some like reason behind
Some
the shit
symbolism
that they're
going on.
exactly. Yeah.
The Indianapolis Colts.
I think C tier. It's pretty boring. It's just a horseshoe.
Yeah. I agree with that. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Out of all of the like detailed animal ones, I think this one is the worst.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like it's better than like there's the letters or whatever. But like it's like almost too detailed, and I just don't like that Jaguar.
I agree. I don't. It's like the colors are just kind of throw it off for me. It's like the green bluish tongue and the. So what do you want to do? The bottom of B, top of C.
Fucking throw it in C.
Oh, all right. The Kansas City.
Top of C.
Kansas City Chiefs.
I kind of like that. I think it's simple, but it's
The spearhead.
The spearhead is kind of that arrow. Need to be euthanized.
What do we think? Is this an A?
Yeah, I would say it's
A B. I'll put a B.
I'd say B.
Yeah, high B.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
Their color scheme is great too.
Their color scheme is elite,
Agreed.
but we're not basing it off color scheme.
Yeah, it's
We're
like there.
basing
It's
it
just
off
a
the
lightning
logo.
bolt. Nothing special for me. I might throw it in probably B.
Yeah, I would agree.
I like the new Rams logo.
I like the old one too. I like both the Rams logos, to be completely honest. I think this one's good too. I might throw this one in A.
Throw it in A.
I'm cool with that.
The Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders. Little badge action going on with the.
Mm-hmm.
What do we
like
think?
it.
I think I like this too.
I put it in like B.
I'm with
It's
Ryan.
okay.
I think I'd go in A. Oh, I just think it's a little above some of the other ones. Miami Dolphins. I really like
I
this
really know
one.
how I don't know how I feel about it.
I honestly, I'd argue put this in like S.
Okay,
I really like this one.
I'm cool. I would agree. I was on the fence about that. So.
Yeah.
You're saying-
Okay, if y'all both
it's just cool.
Yeah, get wrecked, Ryan.
I just don't know what else
Idiot.
we're gonna put in S, to be honest.
Yeah. The Minnesota Vikings.
I
like
love the Vikings.
What'd you say, Robbie?
I love that one.
I also really like the Vikings.
I guess we'll throw in that one in S tier too. There it goes.
Yes,
It's up there.
sir.
The New England Patriots.
Fuck the Pats.
That logo just brings me so much pain and sadness.
I know!
Like it really just like hurts my soul.
I get what you mean. B. I mean, it doesn't really do anything for me, completely honestly.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
You get a C here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's C. Robbie, what do you think?
It's kind of like the Colts. No, I
Yeah.
agree. It's kind of like the Colts. Like it's fine, but like
The Giants D.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
yeah.
Jets D.
Jets D. I don't like
Jets
the Jets
D.
logo.
Yeah. Eagles.
S.
Really?
I love the Eagles.
You think Eagles is an S tier?
I think it's sick.
It's like the Broncos and the Falcons logos that you see it
I'd put it in-
everywhere. too.
I'd
Like
put it in
every
A.
like every high school conference has those three logos as like an alternate logo for teams.
I'll put it in A. Yeah, I don't know about S.
Yeah, I don't think it's as good as the other logos in A and S.
Pittsburgh Steelers. The C.
Iconic
Yeah.
again, and that was actually the Steelworkers logo, wasn't it? Before the Steelers took it.
I think so.
Uh,
I think
Robbie-
you were correct.
Robbie, I'd argue that this animal one's the worst ones out of the one. I don't really
This
like
one's
the
really
Seahawks
bad.
one.
This
Yeah,
one's really
Seattle
bad.
Seahawks. I don't
Pouting Seahawk.
like it. D.
Put
Should
it
we
in
throw this
D.
one in D? Yeah,
Put it
throw
in
it in
D.
D.
Put it in.
The San Francisco 49ers.
I'm impartial to this one because this is my high school.
I'm also
logo,
as well.
So I would.
C. Throw it in. It's nothing special. Again, it's just.
I would.
Alexa,
Alexa just started playing Doja Cat for no reason.
my Alexa died. I won't come back on.
I don't know why, but Alexa just had to play Doja Cat right then. That will make it in the podcast. We will get copyright.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either. So
Wait, so we
should
put
be
the
right.
Niners. No, I was saying I like the Niners logo because it's my
Oh, we'll
high
put
school
it-
logo. It just didn't have the F. We just had the S.
We'll put it in B. I think it's fine there. I
Jamal
really like
Baker.
the Tampa Bay one.
I do too.
I think it's creative. I think that's an S tier logo, completely honestly.
Sure.
The Tennessee Titans.
I like the Titans logo.
It's fine.
I think this is
Like
like
a lot of
a
people don't like it, but I like it.
high B.
B.
Yeah, high B.
Yeah.
Then finally the Washington Commanders.
Hate it.
If there's a fucking tier lower than D, Jesus Christ, they cannot get a
I hate
thing
it.
right in that franchise. Holy shit. The NFC least for a
proved that?
reason.
Who approved that? Who's like, yeah, this logo goes hard.
The fucking owner who needs to be voted out. Fucking Snyder.
Wow. So yeah. Make it
You know how I
easy.
feel.
Let's rank the S tier ones. So the S tier ones are Panthers, Lions, Dolphins, Vikings, Tampa Bay. Who do you think's the very top? Dude, I like the Dolphins. I really do. I think I honestly might put the Dolphins at the very top.
put it. I would put it between the Panthers, Dolphins, and Bucks for the top spot.
My vote is Dolphins. What about you guys? What'd you say?
Bucks.
Okay, Robbie.
I was gonna say Panthers.
All right, we'll throw Bucks up there because I was kind of between those two. We'll throw the Bucks. Ryan, out of those three? Do you like the Panthers or the Dolphins more?
Panthers.
Okay, we'll put the Panthers there. We got the Dolphins, and then I think the Lions is better than the Vikings. What about you guys?
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Right, so that order is the Bucks, Panthers, Dolphins, Lions, Vikings. That does it for our tier list.
Thank you all for tuning in, whether you are on Spotify, YouTube, watching our lovely faces, or Google Podcasts. Shout out to our special listeners over in that department. We'll be back next week. We'll recap this entire weekend of NFL football that we're recording during, and we'll have a lot more content for you guys, and maybe put some comments in our socials about what kind of tier list you'd like to see. Maybe some more segments you'd be interested in hearing, maybe about our personal lives, maybe talking about other stuff in pop culture. Let us know. But for
Connor,
Ryan,
do you want to throw your idea out there for bringing in guest pickers?
Oh yeah, so this is completely from another Instagram account. I'll find them and shout them out. But basically it was on Instagram we could do like college game day picks where Ryan, Robbie, and I all make our picks, and then on our Instagram we would have people like either like and comment, and then basically we would pick one random commenter out of the comments to pick with us so they could be featured on that week's pick 'em board. It's kind of like they do at college game day where they do with the guest celebrities and stuff. So please leave it in the comments if you would be interested in something like that. I can also post something on Instagram. We are over 100 followers over there now. I've been putting in that Instagram grind to grow us a little bit. So yeah, there's that.
Shout out our producer.
Yeah,
my king.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, there's that.
Alrighty. Well, for myself, my co-host Robbie, and our executive producer Connor, thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Please gamble responsibly.